Anyone who has ever owned an older vehicle that has mainly black or dark gray plastic trim, over the years, the sun fade and everything, it just gets to looking terrible. I've used some products in the past like this back to black. Those products definitely help. They definitely make it look a lot better. Problem with those is once it goes through a couple wash cycles or rains, you're almost back to your original fade. Well, I've had my first gen CRV back on the road for about a week and a half now, long enough to kind of run it through its paces. I'm confident in the swap now. I initially went through and did a good vacuum. I kind of shampooed my seats and things like that, just to get everything kind of cleaned up and ready to go, ready to drive. Now I'm gonna move on to some more of the little cosmetic things. It is just a beater vehicle, just an A to B, cheap, gas saver, whatever. But you know, I still like to keep my vehicles clean. If I can easily make them look a little nicer, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So as you can see here on the second gen CRV, very few of these came with paint matched bumpers. So I'm gonna be doing all of this faded plastic. And I'm really curious where I've got these stress marks and things, how that blends in, if that's gonna work pretty well or if you're still gonna see those stress places. Around the corner here, pretty rough looking plastics. These are looking super gray and nasty along these wheel wells. That, and then this part all the way along the bottom. We've also got these door trim pieces that are really rough looking. And then as we come around, obviously the front bumper, the whole front bumper is gonna have to be done. But I'm excited to give this a shot and see what we end up with. My original plan for the CRV was I was gonna pull off the black bumpers, try to get all the trim off the doors and around the wheel wells, either that or tape it up. And I was gonna use SEM trim black, which works really, really well for that factory OEM look on any of those black trim parts. Then I had a buddy of mine, Mike, who does detailing. He reached out and said, why don't you try a really quality trim restorer? And I was a little skeptical at first. I looked at a lot of reviews. A lot of people swear by this, have had amazing results. I'm not exactly sure how it works. I know it's kind of a dye type of treatment and it blends deep into your molding. I've seen reviews where guys say they've had it a year through many washes and rainstorms and it still looks great. I'm gonna give it a shot. I went ahead and bought a bottle. This is called Solution Finish Black Trim Restore. I bought this on Amazon. I believe it was around $30. I'll put a link down below in the description, but it says it restores, conditions, and protects most originally black surfaces, rubber, vinyl, plastic. Supposed to be really good stuff. There is a check ball in it. Be sure to shake that up before you do it, but I'm gonna give that a shot. The vehicle is fairly clean. I'm gonna be a little bit lazy and I'm just gonna go straight to my degreaser like I would painting a panel and wipe all that stuff down. You can use this on any surface that's not a shiny finish, and supposedly you just wipe this stuff on, let it sit a little while. It supposedly does not stick to paint or shiny surfaces or anything that has like a top coat, a clear coat. So that's really nice because you're not really gonna have to tape any of that other extra stuff up to keep it off of. You can just wipe it off as you go. Hopefully it brings some of that trim back to life, and hopefully it makes this job way, way easier and is worth the money. I'm gonna start by degreasing my surfaces. It doesn't say to do that, but I'd say that's probably a pretty good thing to do. So this is Prep All. This is what I'm using to degrease everything. I've got my paper towel to do that part of it with. I've got two different microfiber cloths, one to put on the product and one to take it off, and then the Solution Finish that we're actually using to do this job with. Let's give it a shot. It says to shake this pretty vigorously. Shake vigorously. I'm assuming there's a reason they put a check ball in there. I'm gonna go ahead and get my clean and my application microfiber and my cleaning microfiber ready. So if we get it on something we don't want it on, I can remove it pretty easily. And supposedly a little bit of this stuff goes a long way. My theory is always start with the place you see the least when using a new product. Let's just apply a little of this over here where we're not gonna see much. Boy, some of this that's really faded, like here on the corner where it's super white, doesn't seem to be really taking the dye all that well. I wonder if I really need to get something else to make sure all the wax and everything is removed from there. You can already see on the places where the plastic wasn't terribly bad that it's definitely bringing the dark color right back out of it. But man, those places that are really faded, it is not doing much on those. Got some on the paint up here. See if that comes off okay. Yeah, it wipes right off the paint. Let's go ahead and finish this back bumper while we're here. With the parts that were just slightly faded gray really look like new again. But the parts that are really faded, it's really struggling with. I'm afraid some of this may just be a little past restoration, but no doubt it's making it look better than it was. So no doubt about that. Definitely see it transform everything to a deeper, darker color. It's certainly making a huge difference from where it was. But I'll be honest, it's not bringing it all back like I was hoping for. Sometimes this stuff is a little beyond restoration, unfortunately. You know, even if I can get this darker than it was and make this black pop a little better, it's going to make the paint and overall everything on the vehicle look way better. That contrast between the color of the paint and the black is definitely going to help make it look better than it was, that's for sure. I definitely recommend some rubber gloves. I spent about an hour. Your dressings and things like the back to black, the cheaper things, they kind of glide on like an oil, really smooth. This stuff actually, it feels like it's gripping into it, almost like it's digging in as you wipe it. And then the thing that really blew me away, as I went to put it on, I thought, man, this looks pretty good. And then when you take your clean cloth, you wipe off the excess and rub it in, it really brings out that natural, really clean looking finish. So there it is, solution finish. This is not a miracle product. I think in my case, I had the worst case scenario. That plastic had obviously been neglected for years. Probably had wax put on it over the years, which really fades it and turns it white. And then it had a lot of stress places where it's probably been bumped. The bumper had been bumped into things here and there. So mine was definitely the worst case scenario. The places on it that didn't have stress marks and things like that basically looked brand new, other than the little scratches and things that were already there. Pretty much made it look brand new again. If you've got plastic that has just faded pretty naturally and evenly over time, I can tell you this product will probably bring that back almost to its full new luster, if not better. Could I have gotten a better finish by taking all those panels off the car, cleaning them, scuffing them, and painting them with a trim black? Yes. I could have made all those look pretty much like new again, but I could have easily spent an entire day doing that. Also, not to mention the broken clips and things that could have happened in the process. I think this stuff, for the minimal amount of effort that goes into doing it, you're not not gonna find many products that do that good of a job. This is by far the best one I've ever used for this. I'm pretty confident with all the research that I've done that it's gonna last, but I will do a follow-up video on how it lasts over time. You know, one other thing to consider, your black plastics and things on a car, when you go to detailing, it's kind of like your tires and door jambs. A lot of people forget those areas and you think it's just black plastic, no big deal. But me, I think of things as lighting and a photographer because that's my background. When your black plastics and things like that are a deeper black, that adds contrast to the overall appearance to the vehicle, and it's actually gonna make your paint pop quite a bit more. You know, clean tires and clean plastics and clean jams are all those little details that really make a huge difference on making your vehicle look really nice and clean and detailed. Solution Finish, I will have a link down in the description on this stuff. Please, if you can, use my link to buy this. That will give me a tiny little kickback on every bottle that is sold directly from that link. So far, I'm pretty impressed. I will say I had extremely high expectations. I was slightly disappointed from my expectations, but you know, in hindsight, and really going over and looking at all my plastics up close and personal, I can see that mine were definitely a worst case scenario in extremely rough shape, and they look significantly better. And for the little amount of effort I put into it, I think it was totally worth it. And this bottle goes a long way. I mean, I haven't even used a quarter of it on the entire car. I'm gonna go back, be able to use it on other vehicles. My Sierra, I'm gonna go over my plastics because the cowling places on top of my bumpers, those types of things are not noticeably faded, but I bet if I go back over it with this stuff, it would make a giant difference. Another thing to note, it does come off of your paint extremely easy. Don't worry about that. Not really worth taping stuff up unless you have things that don't really have a clear coat on them. If you have like window moldings and things that are not painted with a clear coat, I might put a small piece of masking tape over those just to be safe. But overall, great product. I hope this little video of my experience with it helps someone else out. And if you're into car detailing and fixing up these older cars and making them look a little bit nicer, I think you'll be super pleased with this product. Thanks for watching.